Welcome to Hyde Park. This is an experiment. We've tried it 2 or 3 times, and the idea is usually there's a lot of stuff and nonsense in Hyde Park Corner, and we're trying to reclaim Speaker's Corner for ordinary people so that everybody can have a voice. Cogers Society has been going since 1755. It's the world's oldest free speech debating forum. If you want to have any influence whatsoever over your local government, national government, planning permission, schools or anything else that affects you in your life, you have to be able to communicate effectively. Why am I doing it? Nobody's going to listen at all. But I know sometimes I talk to 2 people. I was here talking once, 2 or 3 people in the audience, and then I found out that one of them was a son of the Syrian diplomat who desperately was going against what his government, and it was over here because he believed that there was a way forward. Question is,
do you hear what the female terrorist said?
What?
It's my problem of thinking this.
Be afraid, be very, very afraid. The world is populated by fools and idiots, and most of them are in positions of power. I have a lot of faith in us people, and regardless of the incumbents in any position of power at the moment, I believe that if we can communicate with each other right across the globe, we can solve these problems. Hot topic at the moment is biofuels and the need to switch, and fuel security is uppermost in the minds of most ministers now, and it's big news about climate change, global warming. A recent report has said that in order to fill up a tank of a Range Rover with biofuels, it takes enough grain to feed a person for a year. But I look at the solar array. If we was to produce 15 terawatts of power in the Sahara Desert, if every government in Europe was to contribute 1/10 of its defence spending budget, once that solar array was put into place, we wouldn't need a defence budget at all, ever. 15 terawatts of power, enough to keep us going for another 100 years without even improving it. And it's renewable. New solar panel technologies, which are 10 times more efficient than the old technologies, and the more they're bought, the more are coming online. Imagine the whole of the M25 as a generating. That is what's not getting across. The alternatives are not being told us. We have more surveillance cameras in London than any other city in the world. It's not my prediction, it is actually true. I look around me, I see Eden's in a mess, and I find it incumbent on myself to clean up the mess. And I can't do it on my own, it's too big a task. But if I go through life making friends and meeting people that are willing to pick up the broom, so to speak, and start tidying up their rooms and start organising and start talking to each other, and the more I meet and the more I believe in it, the more people I meet and the more people believe in it, the more I believe that humanity has a great future. You'll see at Speaker's Corner, if you go around, there will be a lot of people speaking about religion one way or another, and I believe that in this country they're stirring up a lot of Islamophobia. It's now not cool to be a Muslim. First of all, if you're a Muslim, chances are you're a terrorist. People, do they feel uneasy when they get in on trains and tubes when they see a Muslim getting on, or someone who's got a slightly olive skin who's carrying a rucksack? Is this Islamophobia and this fear being stirred up primarily by the press? And if it is, how do we actually counteract that? Is there a way that us ordinary people can actually get our voices across? There is a housing shortage, and yet we have a skills shortage, and there is no political will to start treating people to start building houses, or a national building programme that can teach young people the skills that are required in the future. Plumbing, carpentry, bricklaying, roofing, tiling, glazing. All those things, and all we're told is beware of foreigners coming over, taking all our dole money. We were told we were being flooded by immigrants. A recent report come out in the paper, 3.6 million people actually left this country last year. And in a little column somewhere it says, of that, we had over 1 million skilled workers coming in from Eastern Europe to replace those that are actually leaving. So we shut down refugee camps or holding places where we could actually bring people on, find out what qualifications they got, the doctors and nurses and the lawyers and the engineers and architects that are fleeing Iraq or anywhere else where we're causing trouble, are stuck in prisons, processed, turned into criminals and then sent back to their own countries without us even reaping the benefits of having them over here. When I see Venus on the film the other day, the one in Love down at Piccadilly Circus, and then she goes, "May all the beings in all the world be happy and at peace." And the look on her face that says, I believe this, I want that, what is in our hearts transfers, and it has an amazing effect, and it can actually it can transform people's lives. Once you start realising you're not alone, when you wake up in the morning and know that there are millions of people just like you that are desperate for a change and desperate for justice in this world. If we agree on one thing and disagree on 9, let's concentrate on the one thing we do agree on and work together on that one, because that way we've started to make progress. I know people that have lived in tower blocks for 15 years and only know the people on their floor, or say hello to someone in a lift and then stand quietly till they get up and get in their box, switch on the television, and are fed a load of corporate nonsense coming through what one senior rabbi said was a sewer in your living room. We don't actually start looking for alternatives, and we're conditioned to get back in our box, get up, go to work, contribute our coffers to those that would kill people we haven't even met yet, and don't even question the authority that says we are at war. Where did that come from? We have a peace movement, and we're told oftentimes we have a democracy here. A democracy is more like it. It takes the piss out of what we're supposed to be doing. If 2 million people walk out on the street and say we don't want a war, for every one of those 2 million people on the street, there's 10 people at home that wanted to be there. So we know that exponentially our numbers are manifest, yet we are not even given a voice. People talk about a solution to the Middle East, and we've got to talk peace. I have a solution for the Middle East. Let's get one skilled tradesman or a dad to come over with Makita power drills, and saws and hammers and welding kit. And for every soldier that comes back, we go over there with a builder and start knocking the place back. Go away, son. Come over, son. We're over here. Knock the stuff back up again. Don't worry about it. Every time we bring a builder over, a soldier comes back. And that's the way to build peace. We want to build peace anywhere, start giving them what they want. Let's stop stirring up trouble. They say, oh, we've got a problem with Iran. Everybody forgets that Iran used to have a democracy. Under Saddam, they have a democracy. And the Americans come in and destroy the democracy because it was going against American hegemony. And when I say American, I mean it in a little tiny box. It's not American people. American people are disaffected with their own governments anyway. And you've only got to look on the internet and find out how many sites there are. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them, all against their government. And I don't believe America's the great Satan. The current incumbents in the White House are the great Satan, if at all. And they only do it because they are put in a position of power and they see no more. We're talking to my friend just now about what's going on in Iraq. They put in a government, and these are inexperienced people. These are businessmen, corrupt businessmen, people from the former Ba'ath Party regime that are now being put back in positions of power, and they fall back on their old methods of doing business. Violence, intimidation, bribery and corruption. And the insurgents in Iraq isn't that. It's ordinary people that have just about had enough of everybody from outside interfering in their business and telling them how they should run their lives. They're quite capable of doing everything themselves without the interference of government, without having the imposition of a foreign government there. Just get out, leave them alone. Get all the combat troops out and have a massive corps of engineers turn up there. Look what's happening in Sudan, look what's happening in the Middle East, look what's happening in India, look at the war in Pakistan. War in Pakistan? What war in Pakistan? Pakistan's burning. It's burning in cities. What about the war in China? What war in China? Over 100,000 major riots in China due to the encroachment of capitalism, and nobody told you about it. We throw away enough stuff to bring everybody up one way or another, and that is the real crime. We have only a crisis in management. If the world was a company, it would be bankrupt. We would have to call in the receivers to start sorting out the financial mess. Let's get a worldwide movement, let's have it, we'll be the receivers, we'll go in, we'll start redistributing it again. I'm not saying get rid of the multinational companies, we need their distribution expertise. People like Morrison's or Walmart and that have the ability to distribute food anywhere. So when we got a famine or a crisis, tons and tons of trucks can come over and redistribute the food mountain. I don't believe in this 1984 vision. Orwell was a very, very clever man, but it was a nightmare, and it's about time we woke up from it. That's the bottom line, so we will. Have I rabbited enough? Do you want to...